Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
Oh, yeah, I love these deep dive.
Me too. So today we're tackling school sports. But get this,
Oh, this is going to be good.
it's not just about who wins or loses or scores the most points. We're looking at the bigger picture. You know,
The why behind the what.
exactly. And to guide us, we've got this awesome interview with the sports teacher, Mr. Johnson. And let me tell you, this guy is passionate.
Oh, yeah, his enthusiasm just jumps out at you.
Well,
It's contagious.
it really is. And that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating. We're uncovering the stuff you don't always see, the life lessons and personal growth that happen both on and off the field.
The hidden curriculum of sports.
You got it. So let's meet our sports guru, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah.
Now, this guy has been hooked on sports since he was a kid, and now he gets to share that love with his students.
Talk about living the dream.
Right. And he doesn't just coach one sport, he coaches a whole bunch. Basketball, soccer, volleyball, track and field. You name it, he's probably coached it.
Plus, he teaches health and fitness education, which, let's be honest, we all need a little bit of that, whether we're athletes or not.
So true. And that brings us to this incredible story Mr. Johnson shared about a basketball tournament.
Yeah.
His team was down 10 points with just minutes left on the clock.
Oh, wow. Talk about a nail biter.
I know, right?
Right.
So were they able to pull it off?
They did. It was this amazing comeback. But here's the thing that really struck me. Mr. Johnson was thrilled about the win, obviously, but what he really emphasized was the team's communication, their teamwork, and how they never gave up on each other. That was the real victory for him.
It's a good reminder that sometimes the score isn't the only thing that matters.
Absolutely. It's about how you play the game and how you support each other.
And Mr. Johnson doesn't just wait for these moments to magically happen. He actually designs his practices to cultivate those skills. He's always mixing up the team so the kids have to learn to collaborate and trust different people.
That's so smart. It's like building that teamwork muscle in a safe environment.
Exactly. Now, for all the aspiring athletes out there, Mr. Johnson has some great advice.
Hit us with it.
He's big on consistent practice. No surprise there. But he also talks about setting achievable goals. You're not going to become a superstar overnight, right?
Oh, I got to start somewhere.
Right. So it's about focusing on those specific skills and getting a little bit better each time you practice.
Baby steps, baby steps.
And this might seem obvious, but he also wants his students to have fun.
Oh, if you're not enjoying it, what's the point, right?
Exactly. Because when you're having fun, you're more likely to stick with it, even when things get tough.
Speaking of tough practices, how does he keep those kids motivated when things get challenging?
He's got a few tricks up his sleeve. He likes to throw in fun challenges and games to keep things engaging. He's also big on celebrating those small wins, recognizing that every step forward is a reason to be proud.
It's all about that growth mindset.
You got it. It's not just about winning. It's about the satisfaction of knowing you're pushing yourself further than you thought you could.
Love that.
Okay, let's talk about something we all struggle with. Balancing school sports with academics. How do you juggle practice and games and homework without burning out?
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure.
Mr. Johnson's all about time management. You're creating a schedule that lets you prioritize both your studies and your sports. He actually argues that being physically active can help you focus better in class.
Oh, I totally agree with that. I know when I get some exercise, I think more clearly.
So it's not about choosing one or the other. It's about finding that sweet spot where they actually complement each other.
Finding that balance.
Right. And it's interesting because Mr. Johnson brought up this whole issue of the pressure to perform.
Yeah, that can be intense.
It really can.
Yeah.
And it's not just coming from coaches, it's coming from parents, and sometimes even from the athletes themselves.
And if it's not handled well, it can lead to burnout and kids just losing their love for the sport.
Which is the opposite of what Mr. Johnson wants. He's all about creating that supportive environment where the focus is on personal growth, not just winning at all costs.
That's the kind of coach you want in your corner.
For sure. He gets that taking some of that pressure off allows students to really enjoy the journey and develop a passion for sports that'll last a lifetime.
Makes sense.
So we've talked about a bunch of different sports, but what about Mr. Johnson's personal favorite?
Drum roll, please.
Basketball. He loves the fast pace, the teamwork, the combination of strategy and athleticism.
It's an exciting sport for sure.
And he loves that feeling of making a great play with his teammates. That joy of just being out there on the court.
And you can just tell how much his enthusiasm rubs off on his students. It's really inspiring.
It is. So for anyone out there thinking about giving basketball a shot, Mr. Johnson has some advice.
Lay it on us. What are his top tips for beginners?
Well, first, he says master the basics. Dribble, pass, shoot. You can't build a skyscraper without a solid foundation.
Makes sense.
And practice consistently. Don't be afraid to ask for feedback. And learn by watching more experienced players.
Yeah, that's great advice.
He makes it sound so simple, but I guess it really is about breaking things down into those manageable steps.
One step at a time.
Exactly. And here's a reminder we all need to hear sometimes. Everyone starts as a beginner.
Oh, for sure. We were all there once.
It's about enjoying the journey of learning and watching yourself improve. So we've been deep in Mr. Johnson's world, but let's zoom out for a second and think about the bigger picture of school sports.
Yeah.
It's about so much more than just physical skills.
It's like a microcosm of society.
I like that. How so?
Well, students learn to navigate these complex social dynamics, develop leadership skills, and get a real understanding of sportsmanship and fair play.
It's like they're getting this incredible training ground for life, where they can make mistakes and learn from them and develop those all-important character traits.
It sets them up for success beyond the playing field.
Right. And let's not forget the benefits to mental and physical health. Getting regular exercise can boost your mood, help you sleep better, even reduce stress.
It's huge, especially with all the pressures kids face these days.
So true. And there's something so empowering about pushing your physical limits and realizing what your body is capable of.
Definitely. It builds confidence and a sense of accomplishment that can carry over into every aspect of their lives.
And while we've focused on the positives, we should also acknowledge that there can be some downsides to school sports.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We already touched on the pressure to perform, but if that's not managed properly, it can lead to burnout, injuries, even make kids start to hate the sport they used to love.
And there's also the issue of access and equity. Not every school has the same resources, which can create disparities in who gets to participate and reap the benefits.
That's a really important point. How do we make sure all students have access to quality sports programs, regardless of their background or family income?
That's the million-dollar question. And it's not just about equipment and facilities. It's about making sure everyone feels welcome and included, no matter their gender, race, ethnicity, or sexual orientation.
Creating a truly inclusive environment.
Exactly. So everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
So we've talked about teachers and coaches, but what about parents? What's their role in all of this?
Oh, parents are a huge part of the equation. Their support can make all the difference.
But sometimes parents can get a little overzealous on the sidelines, right?
Yeah, it's about finding that sweet spot between being encouraging and putting on too much pressure.
Walking that fine line.
Yeah. Parents need to celebrate their kids' effort and achievements without pushing too hard or setting unrealistic expectations.
They need to be their biggest cheerleader while also understanding that it's about the process of learning and growing, not just winning every game.
And open communication is so important. Parents need to really listen to their kids, understand their goals, and help them navigate the challenges that inevitably pop up.
It's about being that steady, supportive presence in their lives.
Absolutely. Creating that safe space for kids to pursue their passions.
Okay, so before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's just take a minute to reflect on what we've learned from Mr. Johnson.
I think the big takeaway here is that school sports are about so much more than just athletic ability.
Yeah.
It's about character building, resilience, learning to work as a team, and really discovering your inner strength.
And those lessons you learn on the court or the field, they have a way of sticking with you.
Yeah, they do. They become part of who you are.
They shape you into the person you become. So we've covered a lot of ground of this deep dive. We've explored the power of teamwork, the importance of resilience, and how to handle that pressure that comes with competition.
And how to make sure that sports are a force for good. Creating opportunities for everyone to participate. It's not just about winning, it's about creating a level playing field where everyone feels included.
And you know what really stood out to me? It was something Mr. Johnson said about how sports teach you lessons that extend far beyond the gym or the playing field.
Oh, absolutely. Those skills you develop through sports, like discipline, perseverance, teamwork, learning how to bounce back from a loss, those are valuable in any area of life.
It's like they equip you for those everyday challenges. So even if you never go pro, those lessons you learned in school sports, they'll stay with you.
It's like having this secret weapon, something you can always draw on.
I love that analogy.
Think about it. Leading a team at work, tackling a tough project, or even just navigating those everyday ups and downs, all of that requires grit, determination, and the ability to work with others. And those are all skills you hone on the field.
It's like Mr. Johnson said, sports help you build character, and that character is what carries you through when things get tough.
Exactly. Now, we've been talking about school sports, but how can we take these lessons and apply them to other parts of our lives?
That's what I love about these deep dives. We start with one topic, but the insights always seem to have these ripple effects.
It's true. What if we brought that same teamwork spirit to our communities, our workplaces, our relationships?
I love that.
Imagine if we all approached our goals with the same dedication and discipline as an athlete, training for a big competition.
What if we saw our setbacks as opportunities for growth? Just like an athlete coming back from a tough loss.
There's so much potential there. It's about tapping into that athlete mindset to achieve amazing things in all areas of our lives.
It's not about becoming a professional athlete. It's about using those lessons from sports to become the best versions of ourselves.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a challenge. Think about one area of your life where you could benefit from applying these lessons. Maybe it's about setting clearer goals, managing your time better, or being more collaborative.
Whatever it is, remember that you have that inner athlete inside of you.
You've got the strength, the resilience, the determination to make incredible things happen.
Go for it.
And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the world of school sports. We hope you learned something new, gained a fresh perspective, and maybe even feel inspired to tap into your own inner athlete.
Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.